Good evening, Scott here, known as Cantaloupe to some online, and I'm bringing a subject to you that's interesting to me. It might be of interest to you or someone you know, and that is the hazard of classifying people, sticking labels to them, coming up with personality types. And I am guilty of this myself on occasion, but I usually misspeak, and what I mean to say, like probably many people mean to say, instead of saying that so-and-so has a personality type, is I'm trying to identify a personality characteristic, which is different. It's a feature of a multifaceted, complex personality, not a whole type for a person. That's the difference. But I want to talk about a couple of specific personality types, such as those that arise from closed culture environments where sometimes people lack exposure to the larger world outside, and they frequently start parroting the same behaviors and even phrases and words and stuff, but they're not all good behaviors, usually socially healthy behaviors, so to speak. And you might question that phrase itself. Socially healthy, what does that mean? Well, social behavior that is conducive to people being healthy and happy and getting along with each other peacefully. Usually that's what it means. So it is kind of objective and measurable. But anyway, the behaviors specifically that I'm referring to are normal, how to describe this, like noise level, for example. Consider that there are people, I almost said it again, types of people, not types of people, it's a characteristic of certain people that they can be extremely noisy indoors or outdoors, and it can be annoying for other people. And the part that is unfortunate is sometimes they don't realize how annoying it is, because they're from a place where everybody's doing that sort of thing, and it's annoying there too, but for whatever reasons they've decided that feedback is unacceptable. There's very little dialogue. Sometimes it's a chain of command kind of thing, and they've been conditioned to not question or protest. So you end up with a lot of different behaviors that could not flourish elsewhere. A lot of behaviors that in normal civilized society, or in very refined social settings especially, it would not be allowed. It would be extremely frowned upon, and people would notice it immediately. Why do I mention this? What's the point of the video? The point is that every once in a while you might find yourself around certain people who exhibit these sorts of behaviors, where they're unaware or unconcerned with their noise levels, unconcerned with the things that they're saying and how they might impact other people. In other words, they are acting like they have the support of an army behind them, and they just couldn't give a crap less about how their behavior affects you as perhaps a random bystander. They just don't care. They don't have to, and they've been programmed not to. And it's pretty obvious when you meet these people. Every once in a while, you'll find these people, and they're not from ordinary society. They're from, like I said, a closed culture, if you know what I'm talking about. Some kind of perhaps security-oriented culture where there's a chain of command, there's no feedback allowed, and obedience is expected. So all that energy, any kind of protestation, it gets channeled, it comes out, but not in the form of typical criticisms or feedback or dialogue like it would in normal society. It comes out as being obnoxious many times, because that's the only place it has to go, unfortunately. And it's sad. It's sad that a lot of people never learn to be easy to get along with. They have underdeveloped social skills or underdeveloped communication skills, and they're not usually open to feedback or dialogue, much less negotiation or agreement. And these are also problems of that culture. And it's if you can't agree, or if you don't respect or understand agreements, that's a whole nest of problems right there. That's by itself, that's a deal breaker for many things. But that's a separate video for a separate day. I hope everybody has a great night. Reach out with questions or comments to whitehotrobot@gmail.com. Thank you.